Welcome to the Built for Growth podcast. Today I had Davey Grant, Dangerous Davey Grant. Yeah, he's an MMA fighter. I don't always have MMA fighters on here because I don't think all of them are always a great fit for growth. The purpose of this podcast is to help you and I grow and learn from other people's stories and trials and tribulations and what they have to offer on the insight we call life. And I think that Davey, at 39, having been in the UFC for quite some time, and our history back all the way back to 2013 is when I met Davey as he tried out for season 18 of The Ultimate Fighter. You remember Rhonda and I were coaching opposite of each other for that reality TV show. Well, Davey was on Team Rousey. But he's always been such a ray of sunshine. I see him walking around at the UFC Performance Institute now, and it is just so nice to see someone from their inception into the UFC to still being there at 39 and thriving and striving and goal setting and just the amount of will and determination and everything that it takes to truly want to be one of the very best in the world at what you do and constantly honing your craft and learning how to stay in love with the sport. And I think there's just a lot of great insight that Davey has, some tricks of the trade and, some of his personal story as well is just very fun and interesting. So I really did enjoy talking with him today. I think it was just a really great, lighthearted conversation, and I hope that you enjoy. So, as always, thank you for listening. Well, Davey, I'm so excited we were finally able to make this happen because I know we had been trying a little bit for a while, and you were like, I'll come in, and I kept finding out you were in fight camp when I would ask you. So I run into you at the PI, and I always see you, and I'm like, Davey, I want to have you on my podcast, and you're like, I'll make it happen. And I'm like, you're in fight camp. I'm not doing that to you. There's no way. I know you would do it.
Thank you for that, but I would have done it. You know that.
I know you would have done it, but I was just like, no, that's fine. And then I saw you again, and I assumed that you were here again for, a fight coming up. And you're like, actually, no, I'm kind of laid up right now. I've had some injuries. And then you dropped the bomb that you just moved here.
Yeah.
Well, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. How's it going? You said it's nice having the family here.
Yeah, it's loads better. It's loads better having the kids and the wife over, because I felt like I was living two lives. Do you know what I mean? It was like I was living it up, and I love it in Vegas. Absolutely loved it, but there was always the guilt that I haven't got my family here. And you just want to then spend time, like quality time with people, and you want to enjoy things together. So a lot of the time, even when I was in Vegas, I was just getting around in fight camp, and I was just doing things on my own. I wasn't like, even though I've got loads of friends over here, there was a lot of things what you would do with your family. And now I've got them over. Yeah, it's so much better.
That's way good. And, well, now that you live here all the time, you probably get to enjoy a bit more of it. Because when you're in fight camp, let's be honest, I mean, there's not a whole lot of time for doing the extra things.
No,
and a lot of energy, too,
Even when you do things, when you're dieting and stuff, it's just not as fun, is it?
It's not as fun. Yeah, it's not as fun. So that's good. I'm glad you guys are here. I think the thing I would have felt the most guilty about if I was in your position was being in the sunshine.
Oh, yeah.
They're over in the rain.
It's just pure miserable where we come from.
Yeah. So why don't you tell everybody where you come from?
So I'm from a little town called Bishop Auckland, and it's in the northeast of England. It's like so small. There's maybe 10,000 people. I mean, we've just got a bowling alley in the last few weeks, and that's like a huge thing.
Oh, so it's really small.
So everyone was chuffed to bits that we got a Nando's. Have you had a Nando's before? Nando's?
I don't know why this sounds familiar.
Well, it's like a chicken place, and everyone in England seems to like it. Okay. And we got one of those built on like one of the retail parks, and everyone was like absolutely chuffed to bits. That's how small the town is.
Cute. Do you have a restaurant over there? Did I hear that correctly?
Yeah, I used to own a restaurant.
You used to own a restaurant. You don't anymore?
No, we ended up selling it because it was just too much hard work. It was like it was like a full-time job.
Yeah.
I thought I'd just pay a chef, pay a manager, and then that'll be it. But it wasn't like that at all. Yeah. So I'll never do another one of those.
All right. Yeah, I've heard restaurants are one of the most difficult businesses to have.
Yeah, we didn't realize,
because it's so much of like keeping the inventory and the food fresh and the waste management low, and then
and the hours so what we're finding is a lot of some of the not the main jobs, like the people who used to pot wash and things like that, because it's such unsociable hours, and they're just young young guys who's doing it, they'll just let you down all the time. So I ended up in there most weekends washing dishes because someone would let us down. And
Oh
it was
my
it was not glamorous at all. I was like, yeah, what up? And it was like a cocktail place and
You're
a
like,
steakhouse.
what do you do for a living? Like, I fight in the UFC and I
scrubbing
wash dishes.
Yeah, me and my wife some nights.
Oh God.
So yeah,
Well, you live and you learn, huh?
yeah, exactly.
Well, let's talk. Let's give a little bit more of our history. So, how
Yeah.
we came to know each other is that you got on season 18 of The Ultimate Fighter,
Yep.
and I was coaching opposed to Rhonda.
Yeah.
And you were her number one pick on the males?
No, I think
Or
I was
no?
number 2.
Number 2
Yeah.
pick on the
I can't
males?
remember who was number 1. I think it was Holdsworth. No, Holdsworth on your
Was
team.
my team, yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah, I'm trying
It
to think
was,
too.
I think it was. I can't remember who it was. Was I number 1 pick?
I mean, this was some years ago. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I can't
When
remember.
was this? It was season 18, and it was
Yeah.
in 2013.
Yeah, I can't remember. Maybe I was. I can't think who
Yeah.
else would have got chose over me. On
Well,
our
either way,
team.
that's not the meat of the story, anyways.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, you were on season 18 of The Ultimate Fighter. Was that your introduction to the UFC?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I tried out for the season before, or not the season before, but the first time that they did the bantamweights, but I didn't get on.
Okay.
It was when TJ Dillashaw for Dodson in the final. I tried out for that one, but I was only like 3-1 at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and I never got on that one. So then I tried out for the season that you coached and got on that way.
So you're excited to get on and everything,
Yeah.
and you to get picked. Well, like, do you recall your experience like going into a house? I don't think most people can really understand. So if you haven't watched The Ultimate Fighter, I mean, the coaches, we have it pretty cush, to be honest,
Yeah.
because we don't have to live inside the
Yeah.
house. We get to live our normal lives. We just show up for the practices, help you guys out, maybe
Yeah.
visit the house a little bit, and that's it. But I always felt so sorry for you guys. I mean, you guys even drove around in a tinted van, so like
Yeah.
nobody could even see inside the van.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you're just completely excluded from the outside world.
Yeah.
And not only that, but you're living in a house with people that you could be fighting at any point that week. You just never really know who you could be fighting
Yeah.
next. I mean, and you're making weight weeks on end, which I mean, I don't know how you make 135, to be honest. I mean,
Yeah,
you're
I think I was walking about in the house like 156, and the thing is, you only get like, you know what it's like, you get 2 days notice, if that. It's like, right, you're going to be fighting. You're not sure who's going to get. You don't know if your team's going to pick. Well, your team know if they're going to pick you, but the other team might pick you. So you're just constantly waterloading, getting ready to cut weight on like a couple of days' notice. So it was a tough weight cut, and it was hard, but I didn't mind being in the house like until it was like right at the end, just before I was about to go home. And then I was a bit like cabin fever. I couldn't wait to get out. But I know a lot of people who've sort of struggled being in the house. I didn't. I liked it. I like sort of the pressure of it. And it was a bit weird because I fought Louis on your team in the first fight in the house, and he was sleeping in the bed next to me, right? And this is the night before the weigh-in, and I'd had to cut so much that the night before the weigh-in that I couldn't sleep at all. And I'm laid there, and he's fast asleep, and I'm thinking, this little fucker's just getting loads of rest, and I'm fucking wide awake.
what an odd experience.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
So yeah, it was a bit strange.
That is a bit strange. I couldn't imagine that, honestly. Like, really, like sleeping in the same room as your opponent. That
Yeah.
is just such a wild thing
Yeah.
to experience. Like, truly, like once in a lifetime. I mean, that's
Oh, definitely.
much
definitely.
different.
I was pleased. Look, like I always, from watching the Ultimate Fighter when it was like years ago, from the first Ultimate Fighter, I watched and I was like, I need to be on this show. I just wanted to do it so much. I knew it was a great way into the UFC anyway, but I just really wanted like that experience overall. So I think I was just super excited about everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. How did you even get started in MMA?
So I really wanted to be a soccer player. I just wasn't good enough, like, so I used to.
Oh, look at you! Even use the words. You even
Yeah,
changed the
yeah,
words for us.
yeah,
Yeah, he
getting
didn't say
that,
football.
yeah.
You're
Catching
getting
on.
your Americanized. All right.
So that's all I did when I was growing up. I would do any sports, to be fair, but it was always like soccer that I was really, really into, and I just wasn't good enough. And I only started going to an MMA gym because my dad was like, "Oh, do you want to come down?" And I thought, "Oh, I'll just go for a bit of extra fitness." And then it was like a kickboxing gym actually, but then a few guys at the end would like roll around on the floor. And they were like sort of doing jiu-jitsu, but we didn't really know what it was back then.
When was this?
This was like 2001.
Okay.
So like, then my dad's friend was doing it a little bit. Like he was having fights and stuff, and I was like, oh, I really want to do this. So I started training in kickboxing and jiu-jitsu. I think I had a grappling competition first when I was like 14 years old. So that'll have been maybe 2001. And then I had my first fight in 2002. And it was like, it was just in a ring. It was just an amateur fight. I was only 15. I remember the guy who I fought, he came out and he had a tattoo. And I was like, how the fuck hell? He's old as fuck. You know, I was only 15. I was like a little kid. He came out with a tattoo. I was like, oh my God, who am I fighting here?
How old was he? Do you know?
I think he was just a year older than me. I think he was only 16.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
But
we looked a lot older. I was still just a kid. And then I ended up getting beat, actually. And I was, I think after that time, because I thought, oh, well, if I got beat, I'm no good at this. So I didn't really train much for the next few years. And then I got back into it when I was a little bit older. And the only reason I did it again is because my friends group, they all started watching the UFC. No one had really been into it. And I was like, oh, I used to do this. And they were all like, nah, because I don't come across as a fighter at all. You know, honest. And everyone was like, nah, you can't. I'm like, no, honest. I said, like, I could do it. And no one believed us. I said, well, what I'll do is I'll go and have a fight, and then we'll all go out, and it'll be a good night. I said, I'll do some training. There was a local show. So I said, I'll do 8 weeks training. Then it was only just so we could all have a good night out, really. And my wife at the time, like, she was, because like I've been with my wife now for like, I think this is 21 years. So like,
wow, congratulations.
yeah. And
what's the secret?
Yeah. So anyway, she was like, I was saying, oh, I'm going to have a fight. And she's like, no, don't. Look, you've got nothing to prove to anyone, don't. You're just going to get hurt. I'm like, I'm fucking good. I was trying to tell people, and they just did not believe me that I could actually fight, because I just do not come across like that sort of person. So then I started.
You don't, Davey.
I know, it's
You've
crazy.
got like the Cheshire Cat smile, like you're always so
unassuming.
cheery
Yeah.
and like sweet by nature. For sure.
Thank you. And yeah, so that's the only reason I started doing it properly again. And then I won. And then everyone was like, oh, you need to keep on doing this. And I was like, I sort of enjoyed it. I got the bug back a bit. So I just kept on doing it from then.
What was the reaction of everybody after that first fight?
I think everyone was shocked. Everyone was, it was like, wow, you wasn't lying. You can actually do this. And then a lot of people were like, no, you're really good. You need to keep doing this. I remember people coming up to me afterwards and being like, look, you need to stick at this. And I was like, I was already thinking I was going to anyway, like, because I just enjoyed the training. Do you know what I mean? But everybody was like thinking, don't just do this for like a little bit. You need to like sort of keep progressing with this. So yeah, like I say, I wasn't really listening to people. I always wanted to do something with sports, always, because I could have easily gone down the wrong path. You know, like my mum, she was so proud when I decided like that, or when I started to become like a professional in it, because she knows what I'm like. I've got a very addictive personality, and as a youngster, I always had a heart of gold, but I was always up to mischief. And I think she thought I was going to end up either going one way, that I was going to be very successful in something, or I was going to end up in jail or something like that. So now, even though I was a little tearaway when I was young, I think like the family are proud that I've sort of like from what I've achieved and the way that I've promoted myself through my life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's definitely been a blessing.
What was your upbringing like, and what kind of mischief were you talking about?
Oh, anything. Oh my God. I feel now I've got kids, you know.
Oh, it comes around, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I think my kids are bad, right? Are like mischievous, and my mum's like, you are 10 times worse than what they've ever been. And I was like the middle of 3 brothers, so, and I remember being like, so I was, oh God, let's say 9 years old, and I was known around my area for being the kid who used to like shimmy up lampposts, and I used to hang by my feet. So, like, I would be up, like, 20 feet in the air hanging off these lampposts by my feet. And that's how I was known. People would be saying, oh, you're the kid that climbs lampposts. I'm like, yeah, do you want to see? So I'd shimmy up this lamppost. If I ever caught my kids doing that, they wouldn't get out of the house again. Do you know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
And, like, I always used to get brought home by the police. Like, I think I was shoplifting. I tried to steal this girl a ring. Like, just all sorts. I was an absolute nightmare. I think when I was about 13 as well, I used to just go out, and you didn't have mobile phones back then. And I'd think I could just go and stop out for the night and not tell my mum. Do you know what I mean? And she'd be sat at home worrying all night, you know, like now I understand totally. And she's like, yeah. And it's so crazy because I'm so much worse than what my kids are. She's like, yeah, this is karma.
Oh, yeah. Well, I've got 2 little ones. You've got 3.
Yeah.
Is your youngest 7 a boy or a girl?
She's a girl.
A girl.
Yeah. How old are yours?
7 and 5. My daughter's 7.
Oh, right.
My
nice.
son is 5.
Oh, that's good.
My son is pretty wild, but I think I've got a good, a good grasp on him so far, but he's still only 5. So I don't know. We'll see what he gets into. It was a different time, though. I mean, when we were growing up, it was a bit more like,
Yeah.
you walked home from school and you
Yes.
just spent more time outside, just
Yeah.
outdoors, like just up
Definitely.
to
I was
whatever.
never in. I was
Yeah.
never in when I was a kid.
No.
And like I try and get my kids to spend. I mean, they're not too bad, to be honest. I'm like, from what I see from other people,
Yeah.
we're just trying to keep them off the iPads and Xboxes and things like that. But they all like to train. Like my daughter, she's only 7, and she trains more than me. She's it's in Vegas, especially because she's in like a wrestling academy at the moment,
Okay.
and they do like
Wait, like at like a school? Is
Yeah,
it?
so
I
it's
know
like
what you're talking
homeschool.
about. What is it called? It's
so it's ATC.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So so
There's like does she know Rumi?
yeah.
Yeah. So Rumi used to go to school with my daughter, where she goes,
right,
like a
yeah.
homeschool thing. It's called Apogee.
Oh, right.
And so he went there, but he was too rambunctious, and it didn't have quite.
Well, he's in there. Yeah.
Yeah, because he's super athletic, and he's got to move all the
Yeah.
time. So it just wasn't enough of a physical outlet for him. And
Yeah.
some boys just really need that kind of
Yeah.
structure and discipline.
Definitely, like the way the school systems are so dated, and like back when I was at school, I was like I was pretty smart. Like when it was like to do with schoolwork and things, if it was anything that you had could be naturally clever at, I would do really well. I remember like when I first went into like secondary school, like the teacher would give me separate work to the whole class because everything else was just too easy. But then as soon as it got to the point where you had to sit down and actually listen, and I couldn't do it. Like I've got like probably ADHD or something. My wife says I'm absolutely riddled with all sorts. Like if I haven't trained that day, I'll start going crazy and making weird noises and stuff as if I've just got some sort of energy in me. Do you know what I mean?
No, I think Johnny's the same way. Daxton's very similar.
Yeah.
I think this is not uncommon for boys.
Definitely. And it's like in schools they just have you just sat down just like and
Don't you think you would have thrived in a school like that?
I would have loved it. Absolutely loved it. It would have been 10 times better. Like I just remember being like just sat like, and in school no one's allowed to talk. Everyone has to do the same thing, and everyone has to sit down and listen.
It's all about conforming.
Yeah, exactly. That's all it is. It's just pure indoctrination, isn't it? Just trying to create like workarounds.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Do you know how the whole like school system and all that stuff got started?
Yeah. So like
Rockefeller and.
Well. No, I remember reading something before about, I think it was Prussia.
Yes.
So Prussia, they started like the indoctrination, the school system, because they were sending people to war and everyone was just shitting themselves and they couldn't do anything. So they were like, look, we need to conform them from young. So we need to get them following orders from really, really young so that they could go and create a decent army.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I remember reading about that.
Yeah, and then that got brought over to like our Western culture. But what happened is like, these high-ups kind of got the idea like, well, what if we create a conformity of workers, basically? So like John D. Rockefeller, he was like, I want
Right, I didn't know that was them.
workers. I want people to conform inside of a factory.
Yeah.
And that's to this day why they walk in lines.
Yeah.
They go to a bell. They answer to bells, and like they just are told to do this and don't really think outside the box.
Yes.
I'm going to tell you what to think. I'm going to fill your brain with it, and then you're going to regurgitate that on a test, and that's going to tell me how qualified you are to live life.
Yeah.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah,
I mean, think of all the skills that we learn, just you being a wild boy, doing all those crazy things, learning how to, fall down and what not to do. What not to do is really important to know, too.
Yeah.
That's a really important skill set.
Yeah.
But I don't think public school really does a very good job of getting people ready for
definitely
life, skills.
I think that's it, and they seem to, especially the schools in England, they seem to miss out like all the important stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like they're not teaching you like how to grow your own business or how to like manage your finances and things like that. It's just like stuff like just this is it. It's you read what we want you to read, do this test. A lot of stuff, and like even nowadays, like I don't know, lessons like history and stuff like that. Like you don't need it. Because you've got it all in the palm of your hand. You just, you know what I mean? You can just Google anything you want to know about history. So you don't really need to do the
stuff.
It's sort of like, it's very, very dated, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm glad that it's cool you have your kids doing something different.
Yeah, I love it. And then as soon as they finish that, they go straight to Syndicate. So I'm coaching over at Syndicate, helping coach the kids program at the moment.
Nice.
And my two youngest, they both train in the kids program at Syndicate as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're active.
You think they're going to be fighters?
They want to.
They do.
Well, my little girl, she says she wants to be a fighter, My older two boys definitely, and they've already had a couple of fights and stuff. Like my youngest boy, he's Nate, he's 14.
Mm-hmm.
He's had like Thai boxing fights already.
Okay.
And he's trained. He said he wants to be a fighter. But my oldest son, Jay, he's 16 now. But he graduated in England. He graduated 16 in England, so he'd done all his exams and everything. And when we moved here, I was like, "Look, you're gonna have to go back to school." He's like, "No, please don't send me back to school." He said, "I just want to." He says, "I just want to fight. I just want to train and fight." I said, "Right, okay." So he's sort of done his time. Now he's just training. He goes to me with me to Syndicate, and he trains in like some of the day classes, and then he's joined like the amateur team on the night, and then he goes and does his S&C through the day and stuff like that.
What is that like watching your kids?
So I've had him to fight MMA, and it's yeah, it's crazy because you have to be, it's like when you have to work someone's corner. You've just got to be calm and collected anyway, because the last thing I need is anybody knowing that I'm nervous.
Yeah,
Especially
yeah.
the kid who's going in. You have to be cool.
But
do
you
know what
are,
I
of
mean?
course.
So like,
right?
so like I'll just like keep it nice and calm, but it's it's different. It's different. It's like so much worse than when I'm fighting, because like, but I'm like that even with guys that I corner.
Yeah.
Like I always feel a lot more comfortable with me going in there, because if anything goes wrong, it's all right. It's on my toes. I always tell my family, look, don't worry. If anything happens to me, like, because they get worried about when I'm going to fight. My wife's, she gets really nervous. Like I know even when a lot of the time she'd sit at home and watch the fights, and we'd have people around, and she wouldn't even stay in the same room. She'd be in the other room while everyone's watching the fight.
Yeah.
And I like to try and tell them, look, I'm perfectly comfortable with any outcome. If I get knocked out, I'm not bothered. You know what I mean? It's like I don't want to get knocked out, but
Right.
don't worry, I can deal with it perfectly. No one else has to worry.
Yeah.
But when I'm putting someone else in there, like I'm not there to take the brunt of it type thing. They're taking the brunt of it because they're the actual fighters. So I feel a little bit more nervous about putting people in for fights than what I do going and doing it myself. Like I'm perfectly capable to deal with everything.
Yeah. I think I can relate to that really,
Yeah.
really well myself too. Just the yes, you know that you have the internal strength to deal with whatever is thrown at you, and that you're gonna get through it. And like physically, you already know you've been. What a lot of people I think don't see is the challenges that we've already overcome in the gym.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, that's where you're forged in the fire before you ever go out for battle.
it.
What everyone else is watching is just that moment, but you're like,
Yeah.
you should have seen the gym wars.
Yeah, exactly.
You should have seen what I've already been through, because this is actually.
I've been through everything. I've been through, and that's why I always tell myself when I come to fights, like, no matter what position this person puts me in, I've been there. I've been there before, and I've dealt with it, and I'll be fine.
Yeah. No, it's so good. Let's go back to the Ultimate Fighter, because I think people are going to enjoy listening to this a little bit. So you were on Rhonda's team. We're huge rivals.
Yeah.
What was the dynamic like in the house? And is there any specific memories that you recall that was just like something fun worth sharing?
No, like, you know what it is? I'm a pretty easy person to get on with.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone was pretty cool.
Why were people so mean to Juliana Pena?
So Juliana, look, I don't know. I got on really well with her, but she can rub people up the wrong way without even trying. Do you know what I mean? Not that she's like a bad person or anything, but like, and it wasn't that she was trying to, but people would get like angry, or like, I think it was Anthony was like, they would just be a little bit funny with her because she's just different. She was just different to the others. I don't know why it was. And
well,
I
I
always
think
got
one
on
thing
really
she
well
likes
with
to like do makeup. I think that was she was bored,
Yeah.
so I heard anyways, like she would like do her makeup on the house. It's like big deal,
Yeah,
but like
I
but
know.
it is different because doesn't typically pair with fight culture.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
especially still back then. This was still for women doing this. Wasn't usually the girliest of girls that we were still
Yeah.
getting yet. Now it's I think more well rounded, but at that
Yeah.
time I think there was still the stereotype that girls who are going to focus on nails and hair and makeup
Yeah.
and these things don't really belong.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that could have been it, and there was nothing. She wasn't doing anything bad or wrong. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was crazy. It was
Is
like,
it just you two that's left in the UFC?
There's me, Juliana, Rocky as well.
Oh yeah, Raquel Pennington.
And I think that's it.
I think that's it too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not everybody made it there, anyways. But
Yeah. From like there was only me and Chris, and then Chris retired
Chris
not long after.
Holdsworth. Yeah. He had some concussion issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was you and Chris Holdsworth who
Yeah.
was my team was Chris.
Yeah.
You were obviously representing Rhonda, and you guys were in the main event together. And I think
Yeah.
he got the submission, right?
Yeah. So me in the second round.
Second round.
Yeah.
Really talented grappler.
Yeah, really good.
Incredibly talented
A
grappler.
nice guy, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was. It was a shame because I feel like he was like, he was a top talent, and I think he beat me, and then I think he only had one more fight.
I think so.
Had one more fight, and then had some concussion issues,
Mm-hmm.
and now he's got his own gym coaching, hasn't he, in Sacramento, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was a nice dude. I was felt a bit sorry for him, and obviously I wanted to fight him again, like
course.
in a nice
Nothing
way.
personal.
Just,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Did you ever have any rematches over your career?
Yeah, just Cheeto.
Oh yeah.
So I beat Cheeto in London, and then he beat me the last time when we fought in Vegas.
Yeah.
So
Over a trilogy on the
so
table?
we're 1-1. So you never know. Hopefully we'll get that one back on. I think it'll be an exciting fight, and
Yeah.
he did great after I fought him. He was on his way up the rankings and like had some great wins, and they even fought for the title.
Yeah.
So but that's the only rematch. Yeah, that's the only rematch I've ever had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else funny happen? I mean, this is a long time ago.
Yeah.
You know, so.
I mean, so Anthony was I was in there, and I was like just thinking, look, I know what I'm here for. Do you know what I mean? But him and like Cody, they were like very, very immature. They was like sat up late on a night, just eating loads of ice cream and stuff like that. And I was thinking, God, these guys don't know. And it turned out to be them two who didn't make weight.
Yeah.
And they're eating ice cream on a night, like, yeah, we can do whatever we want. Like Cody was like, I'm a wrestler. Like I've cut weight loads of times, and like I'll always make weight. And then both of them ended up missing weight. And I'm thinking, this is such a big opportunity. Like, what are they doing? And I think one night we went to, where was it? I think it was the Red Rock. We did like a pool party at the Red Rock and watched the fights.
Yeah.
That was one of the nights, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Anthony, I think he must have been having a drink. And then he must have necked some sleeping tablets or something, because he looked high. And he was like walking about the house like he was on another level. And he came and sat down in the bed, and he was saying, Louis, the guy who was next to me, half man, half woman. And he was like, he looked high as fuck. And he was sort of like just busting Louis' balls a bit. But that was pretty funny. Because I didn't mind Anthony, and when he came in, he was just walking around, and I was thinking, I can't believe this dude's got high. Or like at this point, and when all this is to go, this is like before he knew he wasn't. Do you know what I mean?
When he still was competitive, right? He still could be competing. Yeah.
So I was like, wow, that's insane. Do you know what I mean? I couldn't believe that some people were not realizing what the opportunity was. Do you know? It was I just thought it was crazy. But most of the time in the house, everything was pretty chilled. You know, it was good. I really enjoyed the time.
Yeah.
Anthony was starting to rub people up the wrong way. I know Jessica Riccozzi ended up not liking him in the end. And so I feel like he sort of made a few little enemies in there. Everyone else was just sort of keeping their head down and getting on with things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was Rhonda like as a coach?
Rhonda, I loved it. Like I know obviously you and Rhonda never got on, but and I enjoyed everything what we worked on, and but I'm like that with everybody. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
It was
You were always so kind to everybody.
Yeah, but I enjoyed the sessions we were doing, and I thought the stuff what we've been working on, and the way that she was like just letting Edmund run a lot of the things. She was sort of like, I thought I respected her for being like, because she was obviously the person it was all about, and she was like, look, this lad, he knows more than me. He knows more than me, so he's going to run these sessions and he's going to do this. She didn't want to just be there doing everything, because she felt like he was going to do the best job, you know. So I respected that, and a lot of the time, she seemed to be really, really nice and bubbly when she was just with us, and then it would kick off whenever you were out or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like I get it. Do you know what I mean? And so yeah, it was always good from my point of view. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
No, it's just always an interesting dynamic for sure, you know. But honestly, I am really grateful to have had Rhonda as a rival.
Yeah, well, that's it. It's because it's like it creates the excitement, and sometimes these are the things what people want to see. You know what I mean? So like the fact that it's not just a fight, it's a bit of a grudge match.
Yeah.
And people love that. Do you know what I mean? So
I think to this day we still have probably the biggest rivalry in women's
guaranteed.
history.
Yeah, definitely.
So, I mean, I definitely have an attitude of gratitude that I don't know if I didn't have it exactly at that time. I was still figuring out so much of who I was.
Yeah.
And, when I started doing this sport, I never thought in a million years that I would be, coaching on a reality TV
Yeah,
show
yeah,
or having my name known by
yeah,
everyday people or be recognized or be even a little bit famous. It just
yeah,
was never even in the realm of possibilities.
yeah. That's it. I think, yeah, a lot of people can relate to that, especially like the people. We all just start fighting. There's no money in it at
Mm-hmm.
first. There's
No.
nothing.
Yeah.
You probably lose money in camps. Like
Yeah.
especially when you're amateur or even when you first turn professional, you're spending so much money in a camp. You're not even getting your money back by the time you get paid. So like no one's, yeah, I think definitely a lot of people will be able to relate to that, where like when you first start out, it's literally just for the love of it, and then when it does start working out, it's crazy. I know,
Mm-hmm.
like I always think to myself, because if I could speak to my younger self and tell them, look, this is what happens in the future, I'd be like, oh my God. So I've really got to enjoy it when it's happening. Like
Yeah,
thinking,
true.
look, I managed to move my family to Vegas and I've flew around the world, like won bonuses and this and that. And it's like, if I knew that the career was going to be like that back then, obviously you don't know. And I would be so pleased. So I really try and take it in my stride and like enjoy the moment in the now. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because
Knowing that 10 years from now, you'll
yeah,
look back on this moment and be fond.
exactly, and it's an absolute everything's been a dream come true. Going back to that same person who went to the MMA gyms and fought for nothing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
that's a really great perspective. I
yeah,
hope that there's
definitely.
something that anybody listening can take away from that because
Yeah,
I think we look back sometimes with like this kind of longing or we miss it or, we wish that we could like absorb that again in some way, but we forget that this is really the only moment that we
yeah,
are here for is right now. We can't
yeah,
control the future. We can't control the
yeah,
past, but we
exactly.
have to remember that someday this moment will be the moment.
Yeah, and that's it because it's a natural, isn't it? We're always wanting more. I'm
Hmm.
still wanting more. I still want more bonuses. I still want to go and fight in the top 15. I still want to do this. Still want to like there's so many things I still want to go and do. But you've got to be proud of what you've already done and where you're already at.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there's like happiness is not like a destination, is it? It's the journey. So like you've got to enjoy the journey while it's happening. This is all like it's all an absolute dream come true. So I do. I like to even when I'm getting flown about the hotels, and I'm stopping in the best hotels, and it's not the nicest. You've cutting weight and stuff like that. I try to just sit back and then just enjoy it and think, wow, this is all right. I'm getting paid for this,
Yeah.
So like,
Are there any things that you do in practice to, I don't mean training, but I mean
mm,
that you actually do to help your perspective of gratitude? Is there any rituals? Do you have a gratitude journal? Do you
no,
wake up and
no. My wife's been telling every morning I have to say 3 things that I'm grateful for. She tries to get the whole family to do it, so we've been doing that.
that's great.
Yeah, but no, but I just like try and just take a moment to realize like, look, this is just especially when you get stressed about certain little things, you're thinking like, this is still no matter what happens, even when I've lost fights, obviously it's the worst thing in the world, isn't it? But then you've got to realize, look, this is still, even if I said to my younger self, oh, you'll do this, but then, or like, let's say I went to the Ultimate Fighter finale and then got the Ultimate Fighter finale and then got beat, but then still got the UFC contract. If I'd have said that, would you take that when I just started out fighting? You'd be like, hell yeah. So that's exactly what you would have wanted. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
It's all perfect in the end.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think looking back over my career as a whole, it's not going to be the moments that I've won and lost
Hmm.
that I'm going to be remembered. It's going to be remembered just like that I did everything I ever wanted to do for a career and just like concentrated every part of my life to get better and enjoy this journey of being a fighter. It's not like the ups and downs. It's just like collectively, I sort of did what I love for a living. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So looking back, yeah, I'll definitely be happy about all that.
I was listening to a church service the other day, and I don't know if you're a follower. You follow a little
Not
bit? Not
really,
really.
no. I do like believe in God and things. I'm not like, but I'm not religious about it. I don't go and like support.
Yeah.
You know.
And that's fair. But this I feel like can apply to anybody anywhere if you take the kind of essence of what it was. It was like the message was that we often seek happiness.
Yeah.
We're really trying to find happiness and that sometimes we mistake the purpose of God in our life to make us happy, to bring
Mm,
us happiness.
yeah.
But it's not actually like the purpose of God in our life is for us to learn in the hardest times how to be more like Christ. And so in the sentiment, it's like in those hardest moments, the hard moments are there to show you the light, right? To show you if it was all smooth sailing and it was never turbulent, you may never really get to.
That's it. You wouldn't sort of,
You wouldn't get, you wouldn't have the low point to see the high point or the dark moment to see the light moment. And those moments in those challenges, you just have to remember that they are there to give you the perspective. They are there to offer you the light. They are there to make you more like Christ. However you want to interpret that, but that is just, I think that's what I feel like I hear you saying.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, and it's sometimes that's it. You've just got to look and think, wow, everything's all right. Or like, I always think it can be a hell of a lot worse. You know what I mean? So I try not to get upset about everything. I try and just like you've got to. That's exactly it's true that you've just got to. When the laws are just, there's got to be some contrast. Do you know what I mean? Because if it would just up here all the time, you wouldn't realize that was up here.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you sort of need to go through the phases.
Yeah,
definitely.
Strengthen for sure. Have you been through some really tough, dark moments?
I mean, when I first got signed to the UFC, it was hard. First got signed to the UFC, got beat off Holders, and then managed to get the contract anyway. And a few months later, I got a fight in London. So I turned up at the UFC hotel, ready to fight, and I blew my knee out in one of the workout rooms.
Oh.
Yeah, so
what did you tear?
I think it was my meniscus. I didn't tell the UFC because I was thinking, shit, I'm still gonna have to fight. But I couldn't take a few steps on it without it going, and then that would be all right, and then it would go, and it was weird. But I thought I'll keep it hid from them. I'll maybe just try and strap it up for the fight, and it should be all right. And then I weighed in. Said, look, I'm going to need to strap my knee up. And I told the UFC guys, and they were like, okay, but we're going to have to put you in for a scan. I was like, okay, then no problem. So I got my knee scanned, and they said, no, you can't fight. So I was devastated. Like, it was in London as well. So it was like, that was like going to be the dream come true, fighting in the UFC in London, everything I'd ever wanted. And then that got taken away from me. I got back into training like months later when I got back, and then snapped every single ligament in my ankle. And then I got back in training. I had to get another surgery on my ankle. Then got back to train and hurt my neck. And it ended up being like 2.5 years. 2.5 years where I couldn't fight. So like the Ultimate Fighter, after I'd come off that, you know what it's like in the fight world. Everyone's just on to the next hot prospect all the time. So like I was sort of just forgot about, and then I just had to start trying to work my way up again. There was no more sort of momentum. Not a lot of people even knew who I was because I'd been gone for 2.5 years and I didn't win the Ultimate Fighter. Do you know what I mean? So that was pretty hard. But I always knew that I was going to be back, and I was going to be, I was still going to sort of get there eventually. And I was worried that the UFC might have cancelled my contract, but they weren't. They stuck by me, paid for all my surgeries, and then so that was good. Yeah. And then I won that fight. That was against Cheeto, and then the next fight.
That's not an easy fight to come back on after that long
definitely.
Of a
yeah, it was a good one. And I think the next fight I got my arm snapped. Against this other guy, and I was beating him. I think
Armbar?
Yeah.
That makes two of us.
Yeah. So we've been there. And so this was probably the worst part, but I was thinking, right, I need to go and win my next fight. So I went. After the operation, I did absolutely everything I could for like a year, thinking I was like so dialed in that I made everything perfect, everything I was doing. And I thought, this next fight, I'm going to smash this guy. And then I got staph the week of the fight. So I got pulled out of that next fight. And I was like, no. So I was really looking forward to this fight. And I managed to get the UFC, managed to get it back on a few weeks later. And then I was so excited to fight. And like I say, I'd done everything possible to be the best possible person I'd ever had. I never drank alcohol. I never ate anything bad. I trained harder than I'd ever trained. And then got dropped within about 30 seconds of this fight, and then put to sleep in a triangle, and then just woke up in the middle of the cage like, fuck. So like, and then after that, I got, oh God. So this was absolutely devastating. So I got my arm snapped, and then I got put to sleep. Well, then I got the staph infection, couldn't fight. Then I got put to sleep in a fight, my worst performance ever. And then I think it was about a week later, my dog died. Like, so it was like, absolute
I feel like they make country
bottom.
songs about this, you know?
Yeah. But that was definitely the worst point in my life. I was depressed to death. I was thinking, everything's just gone wrong. So
How did you get over each one of those hurdles, and especially the culmination of so many hits in a row?
it was rough. It wasn't a nice place at all. And in all honesty, I don't know what it was. I think I was just trying to concentrate on like on the next thing. I like having fights coming up. I feel like it just giving me goals, So I like, my wife hates it when I haven't got a fight coming up, because I'm so like I'm just not the same person. I need to have like clear direction and clear goal. Do you know what I mean? And she can see the difference in me. So yeah.
What do you think you would have done if you hadn't found fighting?
I don't know. I dread to think. I really do. I used to work on construction sites and things like that, but I was always like very, very goal orientated. And like I say, I had a really addictive personality. Luckily, I found fighting, and that was my addiction.
How do you know that you had addictive personality?
Because like anything I do, I'll overdo it. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't know. Like when I was young, when I first found alcohol, I was just getting smashed constantly, because it was like I was like, I don't know. I just enjoyed it. Do you know what I mean? So anything like that, and anything, if I do something, I'll overdo it all the time, whatever it is. But it's weird, like, because I feel like some people are like that, maybe with like computer games. I was never like that for anything like that. Do you know what I mean? But anything, like, I can't even think of anything, like, in particular, but
it's just your drive to, like,
I've
you
just
have
got, like,
to have something
yeah,
to
definitely
work for or towards.
Yeah, and I like to think that I would have been anything like it. I would have put it towards, once I grew up, I would have put it towards like business or something like that. But lucky for me, it was fighting, But like I was the same with like football when I was younger, and then like if I was doing some sort of, I did start to lift weights a little bit when I was like 16, 17. So then I would do that loads. So like there has been some things where I've sort of put it towards good, healthy stuff. Do you know what I mean? But I think it could have easily gone wrong, or I could have easily ended up going down the wrong path. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen an evolution in the things that you've done throughout your career, as far as like, when you first started training, you probably were like, I'm going to be very intense about training. But I've also heard you talk about how you've dialed in your diet and these things. Like, how is the progression of that, and what is it like now versus what you kind of started with?
Yeah, like, God, at first we didn't know what we were doing. We didn't have a clue. Nowadays, like, you've got people who haven't had a fight, they've got sponsors, they've got strength and conditioning, they're doing like
physical
2
therapy,
sessions.
Prehab and rehab, right?
Yeah,
Red light, sauna.
It's crazy, like, and you're seeing it now. You're seeing, like, I'm watching some of these guys, and I've coached them. I've got guys who I coached, haven't even had a fight, and the fighter that I was when I got to the Ultimate Fighter finale, they would have absolutely smashed me. Like, that's how good these guys are coming through the ranks now, and they've got lots of people to go learn off. Back in the day, we didn't have anybody. Especially in my little town, I was sort of the alumni. I was the highest achieving MMA fighter that we'd really had. Do you know what I mean? So anyone before us, there was no one there to show us the way. No one there to show us how to do it. Like, we didn't even know anything. Like, there was no YouTube, stuff like that. Like, so we didn't know anything about diets. We didn't know anything about technique. We used to either spar in boxing gloves or roll jiu-jitsu, or like just rolling rounds. We didn't know, and that's it. We didn't even have. I remember when I first started MMA, the puffy gloves what we would wear for sparring. We didn't have those. We'd never seen them before. I don't even know if they were out back then.
I don't think so.
Yeah, so it was like either pro gloves or boxing gloves.
Yeah.
So we never used to wrestle. We used to just either wear boxing gloves and spar or roll jiu-jitsu, and didn't think, how can we link these two together? I remember, like, my first coach used to say to us, they might be better than us, but they won't be fitter than us. So we used to be like, yeah.
Just train harder.
Yeah. So we just used to absolutely kill our fitness regimes and not think about actually getting better. So I feel like nowadays, everyone's just so good.
Well, that's kind of the simple mindset. There's not anything wrong with it, but in our sport, when technique is just paramount, I mean, it's so important, because you can be the fittest person in the world, but if you don't have a good game plan, and if you don't have the technique to execute, then it's like, the matador with the bull. They're just kind of, until you fall right into the trap of the guillotine or into the ruination, and then you just, it's like, well, it really is like chess. I mean, there's so much strategy to
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And now there's the film watching and everything like that. You add that to it.
Yeah,
So
and even just having people who've already paved the way, just telling people about like even like mindset, you know, because like you could be the fittest person in the world, but if you go in there like too amped or too or like
oh
or
yeah.
too over nervous or something and
Yep.
not relaxing, then it's just gonna
Drains
wear
the
you out.
gas tank
I've seen
right
people
away.
who've been like the fittest people I've ever known and just gassing out in fights because they feel like it's such a big moment that like the body's not handling it in the right way.
Yeah.
You know, so like yeah, everyone's a lot better on that side of things
Yeah.
now.
And
Definitely.
sometimes when you see, I think when you see people gas in the UFC or very elite MMA fighters
Yeah.
gas, a lot of times it's they overtrained
Yeah,
as well
yeah,
too.
definitely,
So there's
definitely.
that aspect too, you know, the physical aspect and the mental aspect.
Yeah,
You know,
100%.
I liken it to, have you ever done any like breath hold underwater training or anything like
Yeah,
that? Have you done that stuff?
yeah. I mean, like I've just done a little bit of work at the PI doing breath
Mm-hmm.
hold stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Did you do it in the water though, or just
no,
out and
I've
out
just done
like the
practicing in the
walking?
water. I've done my own stuff underwater.
Yeah.
Um,
But think how much of that is mental.
yeah, I know.
Because you're down there, you're under the
Yeah.
water, and the moment you panic, it's like all the oxygen's gone.
Yeah, that's it. It's as soon as like, because I do it all
gone.
the time, just on my own.
Mm-hmm.
Like see how far I can get, and I count underwater, and then I'll use it for my sprints and things like
Yep,
that,
yep.
and then try and go as far as I can underwater. And
Mhm.
it's so much. It's weird because as soon as your mind goes, that's
You're
it. You have
done.
to come up.
Even if it's only been like 3
Yeah,
seconds.
yeah, isn't
Sometimes, you
it?
know, like the first time, sometimes I'll go under the water and it's like it's that cold shock. And if I don't have a grip on my mental,
Yeah,
I last a fraction
yeah. It's
of the time
crazy, isn't
underwater
it?
that I know I'm capable of. I
Yeah,
perfectly know I'm at rest, I'm capable of.
yeah,
But all of a sudden
yeah,
my heart rate skyrocketed and I've got to come up for air.
yeah.
It's very similar when you get into a fight. If you aren't checked in mentally, if you're
Definitely.
not at that base, a comfortable place where you can push yourself physically but
That's
not
it.
be in the red, you just hit red right away.
Yeah, 100%. And like, I'm still getting it right. I'm still getting it right now. I'm
39, right?
yeah,
Yeah, cheers to that. Me too.
yeah. All right, nice. Yeah, but like, it's weird because you can't. It's not like, oh, you just reach that level of psyche, and that's perfect for the fight, and then you can just do that every time. I'm still working on it now. Do you know what I mean? Like, I found about maybe 4 fights ago, I really homed in, and it was the first time that when I was in the cage, I was 100% present. 100% present. I knew everything what I was doing. I knew I was seeing all the mistakes, and I was setting the traps and things like that. And even now, I feel like the last time I fought, I just got things a little bit wrong. Just got things a little bit wrong. Just like where I'm still relaxed going in there, I just knew it was a big occasion because I feel like if I'd have won the last fight, I would have been fighting top 15 next, and it was on the main card, and it made me want to make it into a fight too much. So my psyche level was just slightly wrong compared to like the fight before, where I fought brilliantly, and like I feel like everything was just really in tune. So like it's definitely not a given. You know, you still have to work on your mindset going into the fight, even at like at this stage in my career. It's not like, I can just right, that's how I need to think, that's how I need to feel. I've still got to work on it, and sometimes it can still be like wrong, either too relaxed or too overhyped, just
Mhm.
going into the fight.
You said about 4 fights ago, you kind of
Mm.
figured that out and you had some synergy going
Yeah,
on
yeah.
inside. Um, what was it about that point in your career that you think changed things a little bit?
I don't know. I literally don't know. Um, just got you. Maybe it's just I don't. I can't explain it. I just felt like I was different, and
Was
I
there
just
anything different in
no,
your mental shift
no.
exactly, or no
Because
no
I'd always worked with different mental coaches and everything like that.
maybe just a maturity?
Yeah, and it was like I just thought right, this is how I'm gonna think and this is how I'm gonna feel about it, and then it just sort of worked for me. And
Do
like
you have a lot of internal dialogues like that
not
where
really,
you think
no,
about like this is what I'm gonna think?
no.
This is gonna
I do, but I probably couldn't explain it. Do
yeah.
you know what I mean? But I've worked with a lot of different mind coaches. But once I remember one of my fights, I was working with a mind coach and I was getting off like the Zoom call and thinking, yeah, this is fucking brilliant. This is exactly how I need to think. And then I went into the fight, and and I couldn't sort of like I was talking to him before the fight, but I was expecting him to get me to this place where I needed to be when I was fighting. Because every time I came off the call, I was thinking, yeah, I know what I'm doing. Then I came off the call and I didn't feel like that, and I thought that's the last time I've ever put my trust in anyone to give me the right level of psyche. I thought it's not up to anybody else; it's up to me. Do you know what I mean? So I started doing that, saying, look, you need to put yourself in the right frame of mind. You need to know the right thing, what you're
That's
thinking.
important.
Do you know what I mean? So I didn't want to give anybody else that sort of, because I thought it's not up to anybody. It's my responsibility to make sure that I go in there with the right level of psyche. So that changed things. That changed things a lot as well. But there was a big shift. So I went into a fight thinking, I'm just going to fight how I want to fight. I went into one of my fights just thinking, is that because it's like when you first get in the UFC, it's like you need to win. You need to win, or you get released from your contract. So I didn't feel like I had my feet in the door. And then one of my fights, I thought, right, my feet's in the door. I'm just gonna fight how I want to fight, and I enjoyed it. And I really enjoyed it, just fighting how I want to fight. I wasn't thinking about being too safe and being too cautious, and I ended up knocking the guy out. And then that really changed things for me. I thought, just fight exactly how you want to fight. Like you could play it safe and still get beat. Do you know what I mean? So I thought, just do what you want to do. Like have these exciting fights and throw how you want to throw. And that changed things a lot for me. And I started doing really well after that.
Are you much of a game plan person?
Yeah, I always like to set a game plan, definitely.
And you still did for that fight too, even when you were like, I'm just gonna fight how I want to fight. You still had a game plan.
Yeah, it was still sort of like blueprints, and I like to. But most of the time, I feel like I've got a bit of a weird beat anyway. I feel like my timing's a little bit off to what most people, and the way that my style is. So I tend to try and let them more game plan me. I feel like I'm going to be hard fight for them no matter what, because I'm not very typical in the way I do things. People just they don't realize it until they have to spar me or fight me, that it's a little bit of a different time. So I'll let them sort of worry about it a little bit more. I just think about what I'm going to do, different things that I feel will work against their style. But I sort of do my own thing, and then I write down like special moves. So I've got some special moves what I'll hit, and I write them down, and I try and hit them in the fights, like things what I feel will work nice. And then if you get the knockout with them, it's probably going to be 50 grand. Do you know what I mean? So I have like a list of these what I'll look at before I fight, and I tell
it changes every fight.
Yeah, most of the time.
Cool.
And like I tick off most of the boxes. I try and do it in sparring. I'll write down which moves I want to hit in sparring, so I'm consciously working on things. And it's not easy, even in sparring, to go and tick every box on the list. Do you know what I mean? Say I've gone in there with 5 moves or 5 like special techniques that I want to hit. Sometimes they'll forget, and it's only sparring.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So trying to hit them in fights is even harder.
Or
but I
sometimes feel like forcing the opportunity when it's not there.
Yeah.
Too. I mean, sometimes if it's not.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. I like that. So you take pen to paper for things that you want to focus on in training, or things that you want to focus on in a fight.
I write loads of things down constantly, and I try my best never to write it in my phone or type it, because I'm a big reader. I read loads of books, all about like just better in my life. Anything what it is, like things like Atomic Habits and stuff like that, or Think and Grow Rich. Anything like that. But what I have learned is if you write something in handwriting, it sticks 10 times better than if you just type it in, because your body's going through the motion of it, that it tends to help things stick. So I've got journals and journals of things. I write things that I'm going to do in fights. Sometimes I just write lines. I'll just write lines like, I am going to KO such and such, and I'll just keep writing it and keep writing it and keep writing it. So I've got pages and pages.
You do have rituals.
See,
there you go. This is the one. That's what I was curious about. I was like, there's something behind this.
Yes.
I know that you're doing something.
Yeah. I didn't pick up on it. Yeah. With stuff like that.
Because it's so habit to you. You don't necessarily think of it as something different or unique, but I would bet that not a lot of people are doing that.
Yeah, I just like
to be honest.
Yeah, I like when I've got a fight coming up, I'm so meticulous with everything. Honest, I absolutely do my own heading with it. I think it's my way of dealing with the nerves, making sure that I've got absolutely no stone unturned. So I'll be stretching 3 times a day. I'll watch the tape. I'll write down the things what I'm going to do. Write down the things what I wasn't keen on, what I did in training that day. Or so yeah, I've definitely got those sort of rituals and like
Yeah.
writing like exactly what I want to happen. Or if I think something, yeah, I'll just write it down. Anything what I'm feeling, and it tends to help me. If I'm sometimes I go to bed, like I say, I think I've got like some sort of ADHD, but if I've gone to bed and I've got something on my mind, I'll write it down. It helps, and then I can go to sleep. Sometimes I'll just lie down, and it's just like there's not good. I'm never going to sleep.
Until
You
you,
know?
process it or
Yeah.
something, right?
And if you write it down, so it gets it out my head,
Yeah.
type thing. But yeah, I love writing. I've got like honest like books and books of things that I've wrote over the years, or even just techniques what we've learned in training. I'll write it down, even if I never look at it again. I read that the chances of remembering it like 10 times as much of remembering that just if I write it down and don't even look at it ever again, just because I wrote it down after training.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of things like that. Definitely big on that.
So do you journal more than just fight related things?
No, not really.
Not really.
Not
Okay.
really. Unless it's something to do, I will do with things like business or
Goals.
yeah, goals. Definitely, I've read a book about goal setting once, and funnily enough, nearly everything's it come true eventually, even to things I didn't have control over, like having 2 boys and then a girl, having 2 boys and then a gap and then a girl. That was like
You
that was
manifested
like
that?
yeah, it's crazy that, isn't it?
That is
And
crazy.
I was talking to my wife about this um just the other day, and I was like, you know what? One of my other goals was it was to move to America. Like this, we're going back. This is before I even got signed to the UFC. Do you know what I mean? And it was always one of my things that never came out. And then I thought it was never going to happen. Then we ended up doing it. Do you know what I mean? So like,
Did you move to Abu Dhabi before this?
yes, very
Okay, how did
briefly,
this come about?
very briefly, right?
Okay,
So
okay. How'd you get the idea to go there? You fought there?
yeah,
Yeah.
I fought there once years ago, and then me and my wife were thinking about moving there.
Why?
Just because England's going a bit weird at the moment. It's not the same place it used to be,
Yeah.
and we wanted to just live somewhere and sunshine, and the amount of business opportunities over there. You know, like especially when you do what we do, it's very niche, and like I could do it anywhere in the world. I'd rather do it somewhere where there's a lot more opportunities.
Yeah.
So I felt like Dubai
The
was
training over there good?
yeah, it was really good. And the other thing was it's so clean and it's the best food I've ever had in the world. Vegas was always the best I thought I'd ever had. And then I went to Dubai, and Dubai's a next level up from Vegas. You
I've
know,
never
so
been. Sounds like a reason to go.
it's honest, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Everywhere, it's unbelievable. The people are so nice. So yeah, so I thought weird because I thought about moving there, and I was talking to my wife, and one of my friends moved over, and he was like, "Look, honest," he said, "we're absolutely loving it." So that was sort of like a good reason as well, you know, because like he was telling us and he was thinking about it, and then he went and did it, and he was like, "Look, I'll never look back." So what I was supposed to be fighting in the Apex. I think it was the Apex. It was in Vegas anyway, and I made weight, and the guy never made weight who I was fighting. So this was back at the start of this year. Yeah, start of this year, and that fight never came off. So even though we'd already been thinking about about moving, there was an Abu Dhabi card coming up. So I asked Sean to put me on the Abu Dhabi card because I thought that's going to set me up. If I get a good win over there, it's just going to set everything up. So and it all came off. All again manifested it, and it came off. I ended up fighting in Abu Dhabi, got the win, lived there for 2 weeks, and then so my wife was going mental about this because we had everything planned to move to Dubai, and then I'd been there 2 weeks. They hadn't even come over yet. She'd got all the kids sorted in schools and everything, and then I changed my mind. So I'd be there. I was like, "Look," I said, "I'm going to Vegas instead." And she was like, "I'll fucking kill you." Do you know what I mean? I was like, "I know," but I was talking to my coach, John Wood, and like I've got so much respect for John. He's like he's a fantastic person, and I was talking to him, and he was like, "Look, because everything in Dubai and Abu Dhabi, I was sorting out loads of different like relationships with people, and we were going into business, but it was all sort of going away from the fighting. So I changed my mind. I went home from Dubai. I was there a week before I went over to Vegas. So I just moved to Vegas with the 3 kids. I left my wife at home for about 3 months. She was like, because she had to stay home and wrap up all the businesses and things like that.
And give her enough time to
Y-
cool off. Huh?
yeah.
Smart man. Be like, yeah, let me take the
Yes.
kids. Just don't divorce me.
Yeah, so I went back because the kids are supposed to be coming to Dubai. She was still going to stay home, and I felt like the kids were all excited to be going somewhere. So I was like, look, just come to Vegas. So I just thought it's better for my career right now. I thought I'm
Yeah.
not done yet. You know, I still feel like I've got so many more fights in me, and I don't want to be on to the next stage of my life before I finish this one. So I was talking to John, and John was like, look, you need to come to Vegas. You need to concentrate on your career before you get too deep in like other stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why we ended up in Vegas.
Do you think you're prepared for a next chapter? I mean, you really, I mean, you've really mentioned how much fighting has
I
meant to you
know.
and how much it's
Miesha,
shaped your
it
life.
scares the life out of me.
Does
Honest, it scares the life out of me not being able to fight anymore. I love it so much, and I love being in fight camp, and I love like I've got this weird thing where I love to torture myself. Like if I'm in the sauna, I'm like I'll sit in and I'll do it until I can't take no more. Or like when I'm doing the workouts, like the guys at the PI, like you're crazy you, and like they have to pull me back in. They're like, look, you don't need to go that hard on this. This is, and I've got this weird thing where I just really like to torture myself. I'll do different fasts or like I say, ice baths or anything. I'll anything to sort of torture myself in a good way. Do you know what I mean? Like I say, it's that sort of
Yeah, to
addictive
push
personality.
yourself.
Do you know what I mean?
Well,
And
it's important to know that you can do hard shit
yeah,
for
definitely. And
anybody.
it trains like the prefrontal cortex, doesn't it? You know, like when you do things that you don't want to do.
Yes.
I'm big on that. I'll like so if I think to myself, I don't want to do that, then I'll have to do it. Do you know what I mean? So like if I could be on
There's a part of your brain that actually grows
yeah,
when you
that's
do
it.
that.
The prefrontal cortex. I think that's what
Yeah,
it's called.
there's this very specific name for it, but I won't try to say it because I
Yeah.
think I'll butcher it. But anyways, it's a part of the brain, and it may be in the prefrontal cortex.
Yeah. I think
but I always think of David Goggins, and I was like, he's got to
Yeah.
have probably like this part of his brain is just massive.
yeah, it's
'cause
like a
he's
muscle,
always
isn't it? You
pushing
can train
yeah.
it type thing.
And it atrophies in people who don't do, hard
Yeah.
things,
Yeah.
which is kind
And I
of
try and tell this to my kids. I'm really trying to get them on board with it. Like and say, look, you've got to do this. You've got to push yourself. You've got to do things you don't want to do. You know, it's like it's training, and so I think it's definitely been a credit to my fight career. The fact that I'm like that, I think I'm just naturally like that anyway. That I'll always try and take the hardest route when rather than the easiest route, especially if it's anything to do with fighting, and that's me being meticulous coming up to fights and things like that. I think it's definitely been a good thing. Like my mental toughness is definitely one of the best things, like or one of my greatest strengths in my fighting career, 100%.
yeah. What would you say to people who are going through a challenging time, like getting they're getting metaphorically hit by life? You've been knocked down so many times.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I mean, what's some words of advice and wisdom?
Yeah. I mean, it's like it doesn't sound too nice, like, but because I feel sorry for those people, but I'm like, look, there's always someone worse off, someone who's would absolutely kill for the life what you've got. Do you know what I mean? So it's hard, isn't it? Because it's true. There's like whenever I'm down now, it's like I'm not going through any real problems. Do you know what I mean? It's like I've got a friend back home who's like going through some real problems. Like he's like I'll not get into it, but it's really really tough for them at the minute. Do you know what I mean? It's like so you've got to like remember that. Look, things can be a hell of a lot worse. You've got to just keep and like enjoying sort of what's going on at that time. Do you know what I mean? It's very easy to get, and I'm sure it's easy for me to just say it to people as well who's going through a hard time. Look, there's people worse off. It doesn't sound too nice, but you've got to be honest about it. That it's like you're not doing as bad as like I don't know. Even what about the people in the third world countries? There's some people going and they haven't got clean water. You know. It's like
it's finding the thing to be grateful for.
Yeah, exactly, and we're absolutely spoiled. Do you know what I mean? So, and that keeps me up because I think I'm living a fantastic life. So anytime I'm down, it's like look, even like 100 years ago, people didn't even have like warm showers and stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like we've got like absolute
everything. I mean, really,
everything we ever wanted.
It's a comfort crisis. There's a book about that I want to read. Actually, if you, I don't know if you've read that one yet.
No,
the comfort crisis. I have it in my my Amazon like to read list, but I'm not quite onto it yet. But Yeah, I had a guest on that was talking about the comfort crisis and how we are just too comfortable,
That's
and it
it.
makes
Everyone's
it a
just
crisis.
absolutely entitled. People don't even realize, like, and 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 it's weird because it's making them depressed. It's making them depressed. It's like you're depressed about absolutely nothing. You don't realize how hard that things actually can be. Do you know what I mean? And everyone just like social media. As much as there's so many good things about social media, there's a lot of bad things as well. Where people are like they're just looking at the best bits of everybody's life. Everybody thinks everybody else is just absolutely having a fantastic life because you see this tiny portion of the life on Instagram.
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean?
There's that, and what happens for me is I get depressed sometimes. I have to be careful about like going on Instagram because I'm all about like my algorithm is like self-help stuff but preservation as well, and sometimes I'll
Yeah.
see a lot of things that are very negative in the world going on, and that's worse for me than seeing someone do great. For me, I
Yeah.
see other people do great and I'm like, great, I'm
Yeah.
doing great too, like
Yeah.
we're all doing great, that's
Yeah.
wonderful.
That's a
And
great
then
way
and
to go and
then
look at it, but a lot of people won't.
yeah, and then I see like children being trafficked and I'm like,
Yeah, I
oh, like my
know.
heart just
Like, yeah.
you know what I mean? And then I'm like, the world is the worst place. And I get in this a bit of a rut sometimes about like, I want to make a bigger difference, or I want to help more.
Yeah.
I wish there was like no children suffering. I want to save all the
Definitely.
animals. I want to save all the kids. And then I
Yeah.
feel like I'm not doing enough. And I
Yeah,
just get like
yeah.
a bit down this dark rabbit hole of like, this is
That,
just not
yeah, I can
good.
totally relate to that because there's so many things happening in the world, some crazy, crazy stuff, and I've got absolutely no control over. And I think like once it gets even to like I'll do that. I'll go on a rabbit hole about like the corporate elite or like and then yeah, like all like the child trafficking or the
Oh,
adrenochrome or anything like that sort of thing. And I'm like, there's all this fucking shit happening, like, and you can't do absolutely anything about it.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's so
Yeah.
hard, and there's
It's,
so much horribleness going on in the world.
yeah.
Yeah, I
But
totally
that's where
understand that.
social media gets me.
Yeah,
It's like that's where it sends me down.
yeah,
Like, oh, okay, I gotta like remember, like I gotta focus on what I can control. I cannot get
yes,
consumed by what I can't control, but I can be
definitely.
driven by it, and I can be motivated to make a bigger difference. You know,
Yeah,
I mean, even starting this podcast for me just kind of was like, I just jumped into it, and I jumped before I was, ready, and there were things, I didn't have everything lined up and everything perfect, but that's also, I think, important sometimes is just to take the risk without a sure reward,
yeah,
because even if you don't get the reward, you get the hard thing that you needed out of it,
yeah,
right? You get the really difficult thing. And that's what shapes us as stronger people. And it's about getting out of the comfort.
yeah,
So you get out of the crisis. You're making your own crisis of comfort.
yeah,
And
yeah,
you're depressing yourself because you're not reaching your potential. Like, what a sad thing someday to think about people on their deathbed who can't look back and really say that they did the things that they were meant to do.
yeah,
I believe that God put them on this earth to do. Like, there is a destiny for you to fulfill. And
yeah,
if you're sad about it, if you're not happy about, then there's probably some bit of purpose that you haven't found yet, or you haven't fulfilled yet in a way that fills your cup.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally understand that. And it is you like people have got to realize as well that like I was talking to my wife about this the other day as well, but like health is just the number one currency, isn't it? Like if you haven't got your health, you haven't like doesn't matter how much money or whatever you've got. Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Doesn't Nothing else matters. So like the people who've got their health, like well, you should really be thankful. Like there's a lot of other things going on,
Yeah.
but you're healthy. You're not like you say, you're not on your deathbed or anything like
Mhm.
that. Things can be
And
a
if
hell of
you
a lot
work for your
worse.
health, thank yourself.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
really, because a lot of people just take their health for granted, and yeah, they've still got legs that take them places. But when you calculate health, I mean, I think there's a number of ways that you can really think about it. But I mean, if you work out, if you eat well, if you set an example for those that are with kids around you, you
yeah,
motivate your friends to like, hey, come on to
yeah,
come to the gym with me, or what. Thank yourself, because you are making a difference in the
yeah,
world.
definitely. And I know there's a lot, especially in England right now. There's a lot of like stigma about mental health and things like that. And I'm
But
like,
it's also physical health.
well,
Physical
it's
health
like,
is mental health.
yeah, I'm the people who are sort of claiming, well, I've got bad mental health. I'm like, look, if you're not sort of like exercising, eating clean, staying off like alcohol and drugs,
And hyper dopamine stimulating things. Like, cleanse yourself of that.
Yeah, then like if you're not doing those and then you're trying to claim, but
Like,
man,
guys,
do
I'm
this for a
sorry,
few
but like, don't
weeks.
sit home and watch porn all day and
Yeah.
masturbate and then like
Yeah.
think that you're gonna have this loving, fulfilling relationship. You know, it's like because you are robbing yourself of the bliss that life with this, with what I consider like an artificial stimulation, and that could be with video games, it could be drugs, it could be sex, it could be alcohol, it could be porn, it could be anything that is just robbing you of dopamine. I mean, just like where it's dumping that dopamine and then you're so depleted that life almost seems dull and gray, like you're watching it through a black and white old television, because the only thing that, you know, is getting you that major dopamine is something that isn't really life.
Yeah.
It's not real. It's not real life.
100%. Yeah, and I don't think like people can't sort of claim mental health when there's all that going on.
No.
You know, like they're not even really giving themselves a chance. So don't go and take any pills what the doctor will give you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, it's more like not mental health, it's more probably lifestyle choices.
Yeah.
You know, to go and sort that out, and then I'll come back, and then we'll see where you're at.
They've already discovered that when you squeeze your muscles, when you move your muscles, and you lift things and heavy weights, like we release hope molecules.
Yeah,
What they call them, hope molecules.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, and that's a natural antidepressant.
Wow,
it works better than antidepressants because it doesn't deplete you.
Yeah,
antidepressants is like a credit card system. You're going in debt, and eventually you're going to be more in debt than you can ever pay back. And then the system, and then it's broken.
Yeah,
it doesn't work well once you reach the bottom. You know, like a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
Really, it's like that. You know, it's like everybody makes out well, or you make out at the beginning well.
Yeah.
But at the end, you don't.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, I think physical movement, moving your body,
100%, such a big thing.
Yeah, it's a huge thing. So, no, I think it's I think everything that you said in this was really powerful. I think you know, you being 39 years old and still doing this and still, you know, being here contending with the best in the world is like, it's admirable. And I think that you have a sort of a obsession that I find is only natural to people who really have a high drive and who want to be the best in the world.
Yeah, that's it.
And I think that, not that I want, you know, I'm not trying to give you advice per se, but I will say I've been in the place of sick obsession, which I think was necessary for me. But in growing and getting to that next chapter, and I think, you know, our biology difference, you know, me being a woman and being a mother, like consider myself like the primary parent. You know, my kids when they're sick, like they're curled up in my arm. You know what I mean? It's a little bit different for moms than it is for dads. And I'm not taking anything away from dads. Very important that you guys are there and in our lives. I don't want to diminish that at all, but I just think that the role of the mother is different.
Yeah, definitely.
And so for me, I think it's been a little bit easier once I retired for those 4 years, and then I came back after having my 2 kids, and I really got to meet the best version of myself. Yeah. That was my goal.
That's good.
Because in the first part of my career, I was just so sickly obsessed that like nothing else mattered. And it was really difficult for me to find the balance in what else.
Yeah.
It's just like, I'm so invested in this that if I win, then it's great. I'm a winner. And if I lose, then it's just devastating. And I've got to fix all the things. But then I'll tell you what, Davey, when you get that nice, beautiful, shiny belt, that's when it all comes crumbling down. If you haven't done the work on yourself and behind the scenes, because you kind of see behind the curtain and you're like, wait, I thought that if I did this, it would fix everything, because that was the illusion. That was the thing I've been working towards, just being the best.
Definitely,
Then you are the best and you're like, wait a minute, all these things don't fix anything.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, now I don't even have the illusion to work towards that there's something that will fix it, because I'm here and I'm still broken. And then it's just self-reflection for me, and really realizing like I have to establish more to myself and about myself, and I have to kind of disperse myself a little bit. But that's obviously a scary thing to do when you really want to have that soul focus. And so I don't think it's wrong either way, but I do think that as you prepare to transition, you know, it's just that you've done like some soul searching in yourself, and that you find like your drive and purpose to like channel it in the way that is meaningful to you, because fighting isn't going to last forever. You know that, but have you prepared for that?
Yeah. Oh, that's it. I mean, honestly, it scares me. Yeah.
I got to introduce you to Dr. John Krudowski. Yeah. He was a guest on my podcast, and he has this Everest ready mindset. That's what he does. And he he hikes, he summits all kinds of
Oh, yeah.
mountains all over the world. And he recently just walked from the northern northern point of the U.S. Up by Canada, all the way down through like Montana, Idaho, like Wyoming, Idaho, and then down through Albuquerque, all the way to the base. And I think that you guys would hit it off. I
Yeah,
think
that'd
that
be awesome.
that mindset and the conquering and having something to do
Yeah.
that's physical, that's still going to push you to your absolute limit.
Yeah, that's it. I was thinking like maybe I'll try doing triathlons or something like that. When I'm
Yeah,
done,
sure,
do you know what I
sure,
mean?
sure. Of course. But I also think there's something that's amazingly similar about conquering a mountain.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Conquering a
Definitely.
mountain, like
Yeah.
getting to the top of it
It
through
is.
the
It's
snow and the
good
ice and
I've never done it even to like any sort of level. Do you know what I mean? But
yeah.
like, yeah, it does. You do. You feel like
And you see
yeah,
the
I've won something
view
there.
and like you're
You know what I mean?
outside and it's just something really amazing about it. But I think triathlons would be great too.
Yeah,
But I think I've got to introduce you guys.
yeah, no, that'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. We've talked about going to Switzerland and doing some like retreats with
Yeah.
fighters or people and just
right,
like
that sounds good.
hiking and you know
Yeah.
conquering some mountains over there. So that would be great.
Yeah, I'd love anything like that.
Yeah. So, well, anyways, this has been fantastic. It's so
thank
good
you.
to sit and chat with you for a little bit and just get to know you. Again, you're always just a ray of sunshine
Yeah,
anytime
thank
that I
you,
see
Miesha.
you.
No, it's always nice to
But
see
it was
you
fun
too,
to sit and
thanks.
chat with you and see a little bit inside of your mind and your mindset. And I
Yeah.
wish you all the best. And I'm looking forward to when you may compete again. But you don't have anything scheduled right now because of an injury, correct?
No, I've just got back into training,
Yeah.
so I hope it'll be next year sometime. Just
Yeah.
as soon as they can get me out, I'm not too worried about rushing myself back in. But I like to get a fight coming up just so get that drive.
I see you getting antsy over there.
Yeah.
All right, good. Well, we'll be on the lookout for it. Thanks, Davey.
Thanks very much, Miesha. Cheers.